horns with trap, munching hornets dance, snap back caps at rallies, ready, spirits never lack, thoughts and pride with style in the swag sack, in the quad, we ain't never gonna stop, in the quad, we always on top, in the quad, feel the music drop, in the quad, roots run deep.
What's going on, HBCU family? It is Friday. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and change the graphic. I mean, we know what this is. What's going on, everybody on IG? Let me go ahead and change this graphic real quick. It is Friday, March 7th. Y'all, we're already done with the first week of March. This is insane. But you are all locked into a brand new episode of In the Quad with Nick Eden. I am your gracious host, Nick Eden, and we're back with another phenomenal show. Real quick, I want to shout out to everybody who is on Instagram, who is on Twitter, who's watching us on the UEN app, and who's watching us on YouTube. You are all appreciated. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This first full week of doing this, I like it. I gotta say, I'm liking the giving the behind the scenes look on Instagram. It's crazy because I'm like, yo, I'm literally sitting up here with like 3 phones and an iPad. Like, but I like it. I like it. I like it. I really do. And so we're definitely going to keep this going. Want to make sure that you have all of the ways to watch the show. No matter what device, no matter what streaming service, or whatever you choose to watch the show. Just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to see it. And again, I like giving this kind of behind the scenes view of what's going on in the quad. And if it's your first time tuning into In the Quad, you may or may not know what we do here is really simple, y'all. We cover all of the main trending topics across the entire HBCU diaspora. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Fizz, TikTok, Snapchat. I say Snapchat, but it's not like I've just got a bunch of stuff from Snapchat. But Threads, Blue Sky, and all the many hundreds of thousands of social networks that there are out there. Fan base, got to give a shout out to the Black owned. You name it, we're talking on it, and so it's really important to make sure that all these messages and all these trending topics about HBCUs get out because they are very important messages. And I believe that we have to be the ones to tell our story. If we don't tell our story, it's going to be told for us however they want. And we see how that's worked out for years and years. So again, if it's your first time tuning in, we break this show down into 2 parts. The first part is the main topics, where we take our 4 main trending topics across the HBCU landscape and we talk about them there. The second part, which is my absolute favorite, is our fam topics. This is the portion of the show where you, the viewer, gets to go ahead. Oh, well, I just saw that. I see you, HBCU Social Plus. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM. Let's get together. The second part of the show is our fam topics. This is where you, the viewer, get to express your opinion or ask your question. And if you would like to get your question or comment onto fam topics, it's really simple. Just head over to my socials at Nick Eden on Twitter, at Nick Eden on IG, at Nick Eden on Fanbase. Click the link tree in the bio, and you can submit your questions anonymously. If it is appropriate, if it gets past Uncle Samson, and y'all who don't know who I'm talking about, y'all will see in just a little bit. If it gets past Uncle Samson, then we are good to go. Quick housekeeping thing today. Today is going to be a shorter show. I have a previous commitment, and so today is going to be a shorter show. We're only going to cover 2 of the main topics today, and then we're going to get right into the fam topics, and then we're going to head out. But I appreciate, and I tell y'all this every day, I appreciate every minute that y'all spend with me. So, and either way, we're going to have a good time. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today, and I didn't get the chance to do the graphic for this because it really just came across my radar. But for those of you who have been following the show for a while, you know that I covered, and even beyond just the show with the calendar, I covered a lot of the things that were going on over at Jackson State when it comes to IHL. This is the unfortunate thing about being at a public institution, right? And very often, I mean, obviously, everybody has a board that they report to. In this case, in the state of Mississippi, they all report to IHL, right? Which is Institutions of Higher Learning, Mississippi Institutions of Higher Learning, which is the governing board for all the public universities in the state of Mississippi. We talked about this when I had the calendar, when we talked about the presidential search. There were not too many people who were exactly happy with the choice of president or how the presidential search went. But I mean, eventually, and I think that the current president, I think he's doing a pretty decent job. What we're running into now with IHL is this. So, and on IG, you guys can't see it. This came from Jonathan Allen. He talked about this on Twitter. So, 12 years ago, IHL approved a dorm for Jackson State so that it could stop housing students in hotels. But then they snatched the approval back. This month, they asked again about renovating a hotel for housing. Um, President Thompson, who is, for context, was formerly, I want to say, the secretary of IHL and ended up being the president, appointed the president after they went through this whole big search. He kind of left the open-ended comment, and people felt a way about it, and I understand it. People did feel a way about it. So I had a quick clip from it where he talked about it, and it goes to another larger point that I'd like to bring up.
Jackson State University was granted an opportunity to purchase a property downtown Jackson, the Marriott. And it's my understanding that IHL is holding that up because it's Jackson State University.
So, for context, and we know this, those of us in the HBCU landscape, we know that many of our institutions, there's just not a lot of room for expansion, right? In the current campus structure. So, for instance, I look at somewhere, I talked earlier this week about Shaw University and how at Shaw, it's right downtown. Shaw couldn't build another dorm if they wanted to, and the state wouldn't let them anyway. But they couldn't build another dorm when they want to. But we're in a situation now where HBCUs are at record enrollment and record applications, but they just can't house everybody. So what you have is you have a situation where students are being housed in hotels. You see this not only with Jackson State, Alabama State, Alabama A&M. I want to say not Hampton. I don't think Hampton had that issue per se. There was another school that just recently came across my radar. Oh, Tennessee State. That's another one having issues with the housing, and especially as again more and more kids are like, look, I want to go to an HBCU. I want to go to an HBCU. The problem is now housing everybody, right? And so how quickly can you get up when you have a record class? I think this is the third or fourth year in a row that Alabama A&M has had a record enrollment freshman class, right? How many times can you keep having that influx and influx and influx? And sooner or later, you're going to run out of hotels because, yes, it's guaranteed money for the hotels, but they're also going to want to have they're going to want to have space for actual patrons that are coming in with tourism. So a lot of people have been buying up property. Jackson State renovated. I showed earlier in the year, Jackson State renovated some buildings that they purchased and they made them into lofts. And I thought these were like amazing. I was like, golly, y'all were dope for that one. But this opportunity for the Marriott came up a long time ago. And they were told, hey, you can purchase this and you can make this your new, housing facility. And they held it back. Now, again, you're running into a situation where it's not on the school. It's not, this is not on Jackson State. This falls squarely on IHL. JSU has the money, the demand for the housing. From my understanding, they had met with contractors who were, had given them all the estimates. They had submitted the budget, the whole nine. This is squarely on IHL holding them up, and you can't give a plausible reason for why. And I'll say this: I worked in downtown Jackson. My office was 7 minutes from campus. I could not only point you to that Marriott, I could point you to a myriad of properties that are just sitting. There will be, for lack of a better term, prime for Jackson State to buy and turn into dorms. Like there's no other holdup other than IHL. This does not fall on the institution at all. So I mean, look, and I hate to see it, because we just purchased Alabama State just purchased 4 new buildings to convert into college, and the dorms. Is like we have a couple of spaces on campus where we can actually put new dorms. I don't agree with some of the places that they're talking about putting them. You definitely don't want to put a dorm behind the band field at all. But so I see the vision, and I see what Alabama A&M is doing, and realistically, this should be the same situation for Jackson State, but the actual holdup is IHL. So let's keep our eyes on what's going on with everything. What are we talking about? Let's keep our eyes on what's going on with everything, and hopefully this is a decision that can be escalated. They can go ahead and get this, and man, come on, because I'm telling you right now, IHL is also the governing board of Mississippi State. I bet you there's no holdup if Mississippi State needs a new dorm. So anyway, y'all, we're gonna take our first commercial break. When we come back, we've got some major, and I do mean major, updates on the Caleb Wilson situation. I said that I was not going to cover this every day, but it's some major updates to it, y'all. It's in the quad with Nikki.
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Pay $0 when you file by 2/18. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. File free in the app by 2/18. When you switch to TurboTax, do it yourself.
Hey, I have a fever.
I don't feel so good either.
This is not just 1-hour delivery. This is fast relief for those who can't take a time out. Walgreens.
Welcome to School.com, the all-in-one platform for creators and educators to grow communities and deliver courses effortlessly. With School, you can combine learning, engagement, and progress tracking in one simple space. No more juggling tools, just focus on teaching and connecting. Ready to start? Scan the QR code to unlock special perks and join thousands already thriving with School.
Something amazing is happening here. In a world of data, people are accessing critical information quickly and securely. That's because CDW architects are building infrastructures with unified data storage from NetApp. With the flexibility to run workloads across any environment, providers experience less downtime, giving them more time with patients. Make amazing happen. NetApp and CDW.
November is American Diabetes Month, but we're not here to celebrate it. Join us and move us closer to a cure. Someday, we can celebrate. Until then, we fight.
All right, y'all. 17 minutes after the hour, you are locked into a brand new episode of In the Quad with Nick Eden. Y'all, it is Freestyle Friday, which means you never know what's going to happen. And so I talked earlier, pretty much most of this week, I've talked about this Caleb Wilson situation at Southern University. For those of you who have been living under a rock, Caleb Wilson was a junior at Southern University, also a member of the Human Jukebox marching band. Caleb tragically passed away last week while he was on an off-campus, unsanctioned ritual pledging Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. There have been at this point, oh man, I was talking with on Twitter with Keisha Kelly earlier, who is a graduate of Southern University. And look, she said it best. She was like, it's something every day. It's more and more stories that come out on this. And so it's hard to there's the part of this of us as podcast hosts, as journalists, as media in general, who are like, look, this stuff has to be covered. But y'all, if y'all have been watching the show this week, I do not want to talk about this to this extent because it's breaking my heart, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. It's really breaking my heart. And unfortunately, you know, it seems like every day there's something else that's coming out about this situation. So my plan was, and I said this yesterday, that I was not going to talk about this again until there was a major development. Because again, at that point, every time you turn around, there was something. It was a little something here, a little something there that was coming out. And then lo and behold, this morning, Baton Rouge PD does a 14-minute. They do a 14-minute situation where the chief of police comes out and they give us all the updates. Right. So give me just a second. Let's go ahead and pull this up real quick. And man, this is a tragedy because this young man he was only 20 years old. He was only 20 years old. And my heart goes out to he and his family. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to run you all through the entire 14-minute press release. It is on Facebook. So you can see that. However, I did get the main points. I got the main points. I shared them on Twitter a little while ago. And we can just go through them. Hold on 1 sec. Let's clear this up a little bit. All right, cool. We can just go through them, some of the main points. And even if you can't see, I'm just going to try. So first, one of the first things that stood out, hospital officials were originally told Caleb collapsed while playing basketball at the park. Now I want to remind everybody that they did bring him to the hospital at like 2:40 a.m., right? Almost 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's the first thing. And then like the park story was just crazy. It was also said that the young man who brought him to the hospital, they were gone before the police got there. Which I have my own set of issues that come with that. All right. And there was some other speculation about that if I didn't hear it from Police Chief TJ Morris, I'm not gonna speculate on it. So all the stuff about everybody saying, oh, we know how many people were there and they did this in between time. I don't nothing but official police investigation results are going to come out of this channel on this story. All right. So Caleb was in fact punched multiple times in the chest, not just once, as some people speculated. Which that was a big thing that went around online that, oh, he was punched just once, which led to people saying, oh, he must have had a previous condition, something of the like. And that is why, again, it is about getting the actual official information. He was punched more than one time in the chest before he ultimately fell down and started seizing out. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay, Caleb McCrae turned himself in last night and is charged with criminal hazing and manslaughter. Let me go ahead and pull up Caleb. Damn, I hate that they share a name. So Caleb McCrae, who is a 23-year-old graduate of Southern University from Wiley, Texas. He worked with them and he turned himself in. Make sure I got everything right here. Worked with him. He turned himself in. He's being held on $100,000 bond, $25,000 for criminal hazing, and then $75,000 for manslaughter. It is important to note that the criminal hazing charge is a misdemeanor, and obviously the manslaughter charge is a felony. I'll talk about that in just a second. But he's being held. Now, a lot of people were saying with Caleb McCrae, they were like, what was he doing back? You know, if he already graduated, it is worth noting that Caleb graduated this past December from Southern. So he just graduated 2 months ago. That does not excuse anything by any stretch of the imagination, but it is worth noting that. All right, let's see. So as of this post, the Baton Rouge Police Department has 2 additional suspects that they are drawing up warrants for and working with their attorney so those individuals can turn themselves in later today. I was trying to just double check right before I went on the air to make sure I was a couple of seconds late to make sure to see if they had actually done that. They have not, but the speculation is that those other 2 individuals will turn themselves in today. So I will update on, excuse me, I'll update on my Twitter account, IG, the HBCU Plus Twitter account and IG, and then in the community tab on the HBCU Plus YouTube channel. So let's keep that in mind. Let's see. The suspects are not being charged with second-degree homicide because the information gathered doesn't show that it was an intent to kill, as Louisiana law states. And a lot of people were like, I don't understand why they're not being charged with first-degree murder. Y'all, anybody who's saying that does not know the law at all. I'm not being funny when I say that. If you're really saying that, you do not know the law at all. But so they're being charged with manslaughter and criminal hazing. There's another part to that though. They've conducted over a dozen interviews. So they've been talking to folks and everybody's like, oh, this is why. I'm sorry, y'all. I get that we have a turbulent relationship with law enforcement, but this is why in a lot of situations you have to let law enforcement do their job. Because for every Facebook and Twitter detective that was saying, oh, they gotta be talking, ain't nobody speaking up, ain't nobody saying nothing. Y'all, they have conducted over a dozen interviews. And I have a feeling about something that I'm gonna talk about in a sec. Baton Rouge Police Department knows how many people were at the warehouse, but they're not ready to release that info yet. This, in my opinion, well, I'm gonna hold my, because I'm gonna go back and attack all these points as we go on. At no time, this was the most disturbing part of all, of the many things. At no time did anyone attempt to call emergency medical services to administer aid to Caleb. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Baton Rouge police knew the original story of the park was fabricated and executed a search warrant at the warehouse where the incident took place. They gathered this at the site. They did not, again, I talked about this the other day. It's crazy because all of the cameras and that park itself, which they said, they knew almost immediately that it wasn't. They didn't say exactly when they went in, but they went to the warehouse early enough to where they could gather some evidence. All right. And there is potential to upgrade the hazing charge from misdemeanor to felony via the Max Groover Act. There's also potential that negligent homicide can be added in addition to the criminal hazing and the felony manslaughter charge. So these are the top takeaways from that. And I'm telling you, every day it gets worse and worse. Like, I'm not being funny. Every day it gets worse and worse, and I hate it, and my heart is really breaking in the situation. A couple things I did want to talk about first. I did want to talk about this first. The Max Groover Act in Louisiana is named after a student, Maxwell Groover, who died in a hazing incident. He was pledging at LSU, and he was pledging Phi Delta Theta. He had condiments thrown on him. He was forced to drink 190 proof alcohol if he made mistakes. And his body was found, like, this happened in 2017. His body was found that next day. There were, and this is where the clause comes up. So there were 10 men who were arrested. 4 of those men were indicted on charges of negligent homicide in March of 2018. And he was one of several pledges. So for the person who said, let me go ahead and say, oh, we haven't seen a hazing death in over 30 years. Bullshit. There is a hazing death tracker that is out there. But Max Groover was one of several pledges who died in hazing rituals nationwide just in 2017 alone, including Timothy Plaza at Penn State, Andrew Coffey at Florida State, and Matthew Ellis at Texas State. He died, his official cause of death was an acute alcohol intoxication with aspiration. His blood level was 6 times the legal limit. And so the Max Groover Act no. So Miss Faye, I'm glad you brought that up. What I was referring to, this one, the Max Groover Act happened in 2017. He died in 2017. The young men were sentenced in 2018. The one that I referred to before, there were 2 people. I want to say it was again, it may have been Northeastern, Northwestern. I have to look it up again, but they were pledging a sorority, and their bodies were found in the river. So that was the one that I was referring to on the other. And it is worth it to note that 83% of hazing deaths in this country happen, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're Divine Nine or not, but the Divine Nine happens to just become the face of this, and I don't understand. I understand why, but that's beside the point. So yes, so they could use the Max Groover Act to, at the very least, if I'm telling you, if Caleb McRae was the first one to get arrested, it is very likely that after they did a dozen interviews, so a dozen, that's 12. What I'm thinking is happening in this is there were at least 12, 13 to 14 people there, right? I don't know how many people were online. There was a post going around that all of Caleb McRae's line brothers were there. Y'all, and that's only because he was on a line of like 9 or 10. We got to stop that. You cannot go around falsely accusing people and you don't have the evidence, because right now what's happening is people are going. Like right now, you got folks that are going and they're sharing the graduation video from a couple of months ago of Caleb McRae, but it's not from his page. It was from a family member, and they have flooded this woman's page. And she don't deserve that. She ain't got nothing to do with this. You get what I mean? She don't have anything to do with this. So this is why, and everybody's like, yeah, release the names of the whole chapter. You don't know the whole chapter was there involved with the process because I'm telling you, when you're dealing with a situation like this, you have people's literal lives in your hand. Okay? Their literal lives are in your hand. You can't afford to fuck that up because y'all just want, oh yeah, just get everybody. Well, if I don't have anything to do with this, if I'm halfway across the country, if I deactivated, I whatever, I don't have anything to do with this, and now you want me pulled in and arrested for something that simply because I'm a brother? It's ridiculous. Which is why wait for the cops to do their job. I know that sounds crazy. Given our history, I know that sounds crazy. But we have to wait for an official investigation because right now you got a bunch of people online that are on a witch hunt and they're on a warpath, and I understand where it's coming from. But right now it's a bunch of people catching strays that have nothing to do with what Caleb McRae, other two gentlemen who are going to be turning themselves in, and anybody else who was involved. Now, in my personal opinion, because it's sounding like after all this time and all this evidence that they're only charging 3 people, what I really feel like is somebody went to these pledges and said, hey, we need to holler at y'all. And before anybody gets on here and try to act like that's not going, that doesn't happen, I'm telling you now, that happens. You do have rogue brothers in the chapter. You do have rogue sisters in the chapter. You do have people who say, I don't like the way these guys' process been going. Man, y'all need to come and holler at us. Hey, don't say nothing to nobody, but you need to meet us over here. On All American Homecoming, good example of that when they were doing the storyline about the guy who was pledging KEK. And again, you had a situation where they were like, it was a neighboring chapter. They came in and said, hey man, we don't like the way he doing y'all process. Y'all need to come and holler at us. Y'all come and holler at us. I need y'all to be here tonight at this time. So I'm not saying that that was the case. I'm not saying that that happened, but I'm telling you, and look, okay, yeah. It's happened. My line brother's in the chat on YouTube. My Trey is in the chat on YouTube. I mean, it just is what it is. It is what it is. So right now it's looking like 3 people are being charged. And it seems like of the dozen interviews, it seems like the other 9 people were online. That's what it seems like. But again, I want to wait until the rest of this comes out. Let's see. So the 2 additional suspects, again, we'll have that information by the end of the night. Yeah, like I said, they conducted over a dozen interviews. Let me go ahead and say this real quick. And then we're going to go to our next commercial break, and we'll be back with our fam topics. Y'all have got to stop with the trauma porn. I know everybody is heightened by this. I know. And I feel like for 75% of you, your heart is in the right place. I genuinely believe that. But there's about 25% of the people who are just using this to engagement farm, get their shit off about their particular organizations that they don't like. And ultimately, what it does, it puts it in a situation where you can destroy the credibility. See, right now on Fizz, I told y'all, we talked, and I got the screenshots from Fizz. I ain't putting one of them up. Because right now, everybody's got this speculation. You got some folks saying, oh, they actually changed his clothes while he was dead and then took him to the hospital. We will know that when the investigation comes out. And I have to give kudos to the Baton Rouge Police Department because they've been extremely transparent with this and quick and efficient. So I do feel comfortable in this situation of saying let the police handle what they got to handle. All right, y'all, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, let's lighten it up just a little bit, y'all. We're going to be talking our fam topics. And again, don't forget, it looks like I'm going to end up going a whole hour. I said it was going to be a short show, but you know, it is what it is. Y'all, it's In the Quad with Nick Eden.
Welcome to School.com, the all-in-one platform for creators and educators to grow communities and deliver courses effortlessly. With School, you can combine learning, engagement, and progress tracking in one simple space. No more juggling tools, just focus on teaching and connecting. Ready to start? Scan the QR code to unlock special perks and join thousands already thriving with School.
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Pay $0 when you file by 2/18. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. File free in the app by 2/18. When you switch to TurboTax, do it yourself.
Hey, I have a fever.
I don't feel so good either.
This is not just 1 hour delivery. This is fast relief for those who can't take a time out. Walgreens.
Something amazing is happening here. In a world of data, people are accessing critical information quickly and securely. That's because CDW architects are building infrastructures with unified data storage from NetApp. With the flexibility to run workloads across any environment, providers experience less downtime, giving them more time with patients. Make amazing happen. NetApp and CDW.
November is American Diabetes Month, but we're not here to celebrate it. Join us and move us closer to a cure. Someday, we can celebrate. Until then, we fight.
40 minutes after the hour, y'all, you are locked into a brand new episode of In the Quad with Nick Eden. Y'all, it is Freestyle Friday, and it is my favorite part of the show. My absolute favorite part of the show. It is our fam topics. You gotta love the fam topics, right? Like, how could you not? Now, for those who are brand new to the fam topics, this is the portion of the show where you, the viewer, get to express your opinion or ask a question. Some of y'all really ain't passed the vibe check, but you got to go through Samson. You always got to go through Uncle Samson to get your stuff onto Fam Topics. If you would like to have your question or comments read on Fam Topics, it's really easy. All you have to do is head over to Nick Eden at Instagram. No, Lord. Instagram at Nick Eden, Twitter at Nick Eden, fan base at Nick Eden. I'm losing my mind today, y'all. It's Friday. I'm ready to go. Click the link tree in the bio. Submit your question or comment anonymously. So, and I'm telling you, there's one that might. It's one of these that pissed me off. I ain't gonna hold you. So let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and start with it. All right, this person says, I hear you about the Caleb Wilson situation, but I find it hard to believe that you don't support pledging. You definitely have not listened to this show. You're telling me that you didn't pledge. Y'all pretty much act the same. Okay, so clearly this is a person who's only caught a clip of the show. Clearly this is a person who has not heard my stance on this fully. Let me go ahead and just break it down to y'all one more time for everybody in the back. For the 115 people that's watching on Twitter, I can't even see how many are watching on IG, and for the between 6 and 10,000 that watch on the UEN app. Shout out to y'all, because y'all the ones that's keeping these bills paid. Let me go ahead and say this real quick. I have said from the moment that I spoke up on the situation that I support a process. I do not support hazing. I am 44 years old. I will be 45 on September 1st. If you were to ask me 20 years ago how I felt about pledging or hazing, you would have gotten a completely different answer. And I have said that. I have also said that that may or may not make me a hypocrite. And if that is the case, then so be it. I'll take that. If that makes me a hypocrite, fine. But I would think that you don't want somebody to have the same mentality at 24, at 44. I would think that is the case. And you know what? Man, Phil, I am glad that y'all, this is my line brother. This is my front. It's one of my best friends that you may very well, I say may very well, but that you will be seeing on the network pretty soon. Felt 5. We pledged together. And he did say, I told y'all back then. He said that. He said it 20 plus years ago. But again, I say all that to say, for this person, I find it hard to believe that you don't support pledging. I support a process. I told y'all about an organization a couple of days ago that they were on Morris Brown's campus. They did not touch those guys. They did not physically touch them. Those guys did exercise, though they did calisthenics. They were tight. They were together. They knew their information. They were brothers, and that was their process. That being said, even that to some degree can be considered hazing. If we're being honest, it can. But outside of that, what I'm talking about is I support a process that will mentally prepare these brothers or sisters for a very hectic life in a fraternity, more so transferable skills that can translate into a professional life. I support a process that will have them learn their information. I support a process that will bring them together as brothers or sisters. I support a process. I do not support hazing. That's it. Hard stop. You're telling me you didn't pledge? Never, never, ever did I say that I did not pledge. As a matter of fact, on Monday, I probably went into more details than I should have. It's the truth. I probably went into more details than I should have. Nonetheless, that was then, this is now. And to say that we pretty much act the same, I mean, that you're part of that 25% that I'm talking about. It just is what it is. You're part of that 25%. So anyway, what we got next? So calendar back for good, or was that just a one-time thing? Okay. Look, I'm telling y'all right now, we're gonna take the calendar coming back, we're gonna take that week by week. We're gonna take that week by as it stands right now. There will be a calendar review on Monday's show of this past week. As it stands right now, I will do another calendar. I ain't gonna promise you that I'm gonna be doing this damn calendar, 3-4 weeks down the road. I get it. It's the thing that got me to this point. I understand it. I just can't say that I'm gonna do that. All right, what else? How on earth did we get swept by y'all bumblebees? Hey, listen, it was just your time, Southern. It was just your time. I don't know what else to tell you. Southern's men and women's basketball team, phenomenal. They are phenomenal. If you watched that game last night, the men's game was a nail biter, literally down to the last second. Just like it happened before. It's just this season, Big Bama State was Southern's kryptonite when it came to basketball. So it is what it is. All right, what we got next? How can we shift the narrative about seemingly all the negative news that comes out about HBCUs, D9, etc.? Um, well, it depends on what you mean by spinning the narrative. And the reason I say that is because some things don't need to be spun or shifted. I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. Uh, it's the it's the same way that there is a reason that this show is in the quad with Nick Eden and not the Hornet Holic podcast that's talking about Alabama State. Right? Listen, I have no issue with, and I consume it. I consume the content. I love From the Hill. Those are my folks. Those are my fam. They do a great job covering Alabama A&M. KC 1400, Ken, that's my dude. Love it. Zoe Phillips. Even Zoe covers more than just Jackson State. But listen, I love it. Wild Card, they do Alabama State. Swack and a Fool, they're all corner. I love all of the content, right? I do. I don't. I think that you need both. I think that you need the specialized shows, and I think you need the shows that are just going to be completely objective. Y'all know I put Alabama State on the calendar. I've covered the not so great news about Alabama State on this show because my job is to be objective and give you objective news about HBCU trending topics. So that being said, we don't need to shift the narrative. We need to report on the truth because what you don't want to do is you don't want to become Fox News. And I'm not talking about how Scotty says Fox News. I'm talking about the actual Fox News. You don't want to be CNN. Like everybody spins based on their narrative. My thing has always been we should be the ones, because I'm going to tell you right now, CNN, MSNBC, The Hill, Morning Joe, none of those shows are going to dedicate 40 minutes plus. At this point, I've dedicated about 40 minutes per day to this Caleb Wilson story to make sure that everything is out there. Right? You think you're going to get that on MSNBC? You think you're going to get that on CNN? You think you're going to get that on any of these other podcasts? You get it in HBCU media. You get it in Black-owned media. There is a reason for that because we can talk about stories that are affecting our community, so we don't need to shift the narrative. We need to talk about it. We need to be accountable for it. And it's the same thing. I champion HBCUs when they do great. I talk about them when they don't do great. I've been pulling for St. Augustine's University for the past few months to get this shit together, and they just haven't done it. And that's just life. That is what it is. So I don't think that we need to shift or spin a narrative. I think when you do that, that makes us no better. I think that makes us no better than the people who we feel gives us, a bad name. Y'all, we're going to take our last commercial break, and we're going to come back with my final thoughts. So we're going to finish out the hour. It's in the quad with Nick Easy.
Hey, I have a fever.
I don't feel so good either.
This is not just 1 hour delivery. This is fast relief for those who can't take a time out. Walgreens.
Something amazing is happening here. In a world of data, people are accessing critical information quickly and securely. That's because CDW architects are building infrastructures with unified data storage from NetApp. With the flexibility to run workloads across any environment, providers experience less downtime, giving them more time with patients. Make amazing happen. NetApp and CDW.
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Pay $0 when you file by 2/18. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now this is Taxes. File free in the app by 2/18 when you switch to TurboTax Do It Yourself.
November is American Diabetes Month, but we're not here to celebrate it. Join us and move us closer to a cure. Someday, we can celebrate. Until then, we fight.
Welcome to School.com, the all-in-one platform for creators and educators to grow communities and deliver courses effortlessly. With School, you can combine learning, engagement, and progress tracking in one simple space. No more juggling tools, just focus on teaching and connecting. Ready to start? Scan the QR code to unlock special perks and join thousands already thriving with School.
All right, y'all. 53 minutes past the hour. You are locked into a brand new episode of In the Quad with Nick Eden. It is Freestyle Friday. So let me go ahead and give y'all my final thoughts. One, we're gonna go ahead and just finish out the hour. I thought I was gonna get out of here early, but hey, at least I already took a bath. It's final thoughts. I'm pretty sure there are gonna be developments over the weekend. I will hope that this is not a story that I gotta talk about on Monday. I gotta be honest with you. I hope there's a lot of positive that's coming up next week. Don't forget, y'all, you got the men's and women's MEAC basketball tournament going on next week. I'm rooting for Norfolk State to pull it out for both, but South Carolina State has been having the men's team's been having a hell of a season. So, but I got it down to those two. So we shall see. But I am pulling for Norfolk State. Don't forget, coming up after that, coming into the weekend, you've got the SWAC men's and women's basketball tournament. Right now, I told you on the women's side, listen, if she can keep it together, and I feel like she can, I think that, hey, Coach Diva gonna take it. Coach Don Thornton is gonna take it. The Lady Bulldogs at Alabama A&M. I said at the beginning of the basketball season that this season was Alabama A&M's to lose. So we're going to see if they actually come through with it and they actually pull out the victory and take home the title. Because right now they already lost the regular season title that's sitting with Southern University's women's basketball team. On the men's side, that's a hard one to call, man. Bethune-Cookman is balling right now. Southern obviously has been beasting through everybody except Alabama State. Just saying. And then you got Jackson State and FAMU waiting in the wins too. So I honestly think that this is anybody's tournament on the men's side. It is definitely anybody's tournament on the men's side. So we shall see. Don't forget, y'all, you've got the SWAC bowling tournament coming up in just a couple of weeks. You've got swimming coming up. You've got HBCUs that are very well represented in the NAIA championship. I'm going to get that graphic to y'all. I'm supposed to have it for the show. Life be life, y'all. Life be lifing. And I got my youngest daughter this weekend, so y'all already know. It's hard. Y'all have been around. If y'all been rocking with the show for a while, y'all been around. When she's around, it's like, hey, Daddy, I don't care if you are in the middle of the show. I need a hug. But in any event, I appreciate everybody who took an hour of their day to join me here on In the Quad with Nick Eden. I want you all to have an amazing weekend. I tell y'all this every show. Be safe. Be safe. Please be safe. Love on your loved ones. Give them a hug. Give them a kiss. We don't know what's going to happen. And I think if nothing else, this week has shown us this with the situation with Caleb Wilson. So, again, I want y'all to have an amazing weekend. Don't forget, if you're not already following me, at Nick Eden on Instagram, at Nick Eden on Twitter, at Nick Eden on Fanbase, as well as TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. Yeah, basically every social media network that you're on, at Nick Eden. Like I always get my name real quick. And if you have not, please go ahead, download the UEN app. It is in your app store. It is in the app store for your smart TV. You have not and will not see any other network that streams more HBCU games across multiple sports, and it is all for free. You can't beat that. You can't beat free. It's free, Style Friday. If you have not already, subscribe to the HBCU Plus YouTube channel, where you will get not only coverage from myself, you get coverage from Kyle Mosley with Black Sports Insiders, Randall Barnes with HBCU Pulse, and Live for Hoops with HBCU Hoops Talk. And finally, make sure that you are following HBCU_plus on Instagram and TikTok. Not TikTok. TikTok ain't up yet. On Twitter. Y'all, I appreciate you very much. And I will see you all same time on Monday with the calendar review